have you used AI search and AI mode? Well, as a user, it is very easy and handy to use, right? But there has been a growing concerns among publishers that the generative AI use is going to lower down their traffics and their revenue models. Our guest Sonali Verma also pointed out that how search is going to dry up for the newsroom people. And so to discuss that, we have with us today Abhishek Prasad, who is working around Google Discover. So a very warm welcome to our show, Abhishek. So Abhishek, my first question to you would be, you have seen the search industry inside out. You have been working with newsrooms for so long now. So how did search rankings evolve before the significant AI era? So if you can take us through a timeline of it.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting timeline if you look at it. I kind of look at it in three distinct eras. So the first would be probably pre 2012 13. We all know how it started, right? Every news site was an extension of print. They were all very new. Internet was new, and it was all around content coverage. Discoverability was, well, the Google game hadn't started then, but it was getting there, right? It was mostly a keyword match angle.
Right. I remember writing SEO articles back in 2010 for a website that I was working for. And that's when I came across Google Analytics and SEO articles and all those things. So yes.
Yeah, that's where it was. People were, creating content. They were putting a lot of meta tags, and Google was reading these contents and kind of trying to match it to a user requirement. So it was necessarily a keyword to keyword match, right? Yes. And putting in stuff. Now, what happened was that after 2012-13, this kind of people started taking Google for a ride. Okay, they started creating too much content. People started calling this black hat techniques of getting more visibility on Google.
Okay.
And as a result, what happened was relevance went down. While people were creating a lot of quality content, discoverability on Google was, well, not up to the mark. That's when Google decided that, you know what, we need to change our algorithms in a way. So it came up with, you would have heard of this, Panda updates, Penguin updates,
yes.
right? These were the updates which actually started using authority, depth of keyword, backlinks, and all that stuff that we see today. It actually started then. So coming back to the three eras, look at it from a perspective of pre-2012, if you may, and then 2012 till 22, maybe a decade or so, right? Because that's been a completely different ride altogether. And coming back to the present, right? And the present context is probably completely different, right? The last 10 years would be largely be defined as massive visibility on Google and its content, right? If you're a part of, one of those big media houses, you would be creating a lot of content which adheres to some sort of a keyword recommendations you get from the SEO team, right? So it's not just core news, you're also doing a lot of other kind of content, right? Entertainment news, movie reviews, gadget reviews, lifestyle.
There are so many sections.
Absolutely. Yes. Why? Because you want to see, you want your content to be seen when that kind of keywords is being searched, right? So largely every site's business metric has been traffic. I have X unique visitors today. I want X plus 10% or whatever tomorrow. Of course, my next financial plan, that's my North Star metric. That's where I want to be. So that was the ball game that was set. Largely because on one side, Google was giving more, discoverability to content, but on the other side, ad monetization evolved as well, right? The way to make money, you're no longer a part of the print element, which is still there, but largely new digital newsrooms started making money of their own. People started paying for ads on news websites, and then you wanted more and more and more and more eyeballs, right? So ultimately, it ended up in a good relationship with Google, where Google wanted more content, right? And news publishers wanted more money. The ad model was working, and that's where things are, right? That's how things still are in a certain way.
But with AI search and AI mode that is popping up, how do you think the revenue models and the business models are going to change? So I had this question in my mind. If I just segregate the three levels, publishers that are trying to get more traffic through search and their revenue models are based on that. एक चीज़ ये हो गई. दूसरे, क्योंकि उनका ट्रैफिक डिक्लाइन हो रहा है ओवर द इयर्स, मे बी द राइट कंटेंट या जो राइट कस्टमर है उनको रीच आउट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. बट द on the other hand, content creators and influencers are on a rise. They are able to reach out, they are able to connect with the masses. So what is the idea and the model there? That will be my second question to you. और तीसरे एंड पे जो यूज़र्स हैं वहाँ पे AI सर्च बहुत हैंडी हो जाती है, लेकिन जो नैरेटिव्स, फॉल्स नैरेटिव्स बिल्ड होते हैं या मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन के चांसेस हैं. तो ये तीन स्पेसिफिक एरियाज में अगर इफ़ आई वांट टू आस्क यू, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, व्हाट इज़ गोइंग in these three fields?
Well, in the present day and age, you would have seen the context of AI overviews coming up. Pretty straightforward. You search for something, Google gives you the answer right away, then and there, on the mobile screen itself, right?
There's a summary there, everything summarized.
You just type it.
Yes.
You just type in a question, it gives you the answer right then and there, right? No need to click and go to some other site, right? And because of that, okay, the one thing that changes is the click model, and there's a term for it. It's called the decline of the blue link economy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
the
a massive
blue link
term
that we used to click.
Yes.
We have grown clicking that link and getting our answers.
Absolutely. So it's not going to be there anymore because it's the answer right then and there, right? That's what is an AI overview. AI mode is right below that. India is one of the first countries where AI mode has been launched alongside US, I believe. So there's a ask more questions. You click that, it creates a, call it a chat GPT kind of a question and answer mode, right? Where you can just type on
So
asking follow-up
conversational.
questions.
Now you can do
Absolutely.
conversational search.
Conversation. And if you realize, that's where the whole question and answer searching is now evolving. You used to say, oh, let's Google it, right? Whenever, arey Google kar lena, or, we used to talk like that. It's at risk in the present day and context, right? So people are, and I read a research, people are not using Google, the college students, the new audience, right? They are not using Google that much. They are using ChatGPT, Perplexity, where answers are directly in front of them, right? That poses a big risk for somebody like Google, right? So that's the right evolutionary step, if you may, for Google to take. AI overviews and AI mode. Both are different.
No, because I think in India we still, for us that browser is still Google. कुछ ढूंढना है तो Google ही खोलेंगे. तो अगर वहाँ पे वो AI mode का option आ जाता है, and I think they are pushing us towards that, क्योंकि I can see that bar yesterday while I was operating on that. तो अगर that mindset is still there, that this is the browser where we have to search, and it is giving us that upgraded version of conversations now. So it helps.
Very, very much helpful. Right.
But what do you think about publishers in this case? Because जो उनके links थे, जो blue link की आप बात कर रहे हो, those links, people will not be clicking those links. अगर summarized concept आ रहा है, तो जो stories आ रही हैं, all those efforts into producing so many stories, where does it go? And the traffic goes down, the revenue goes down. So what is happening there?
Well, it's definitely it's definitely not pretty. And it's not just publishers who are stuck, it's brands as well, because in the results a lot of different things show up, right? And that's the big risk that is there. So if Google is giving you the answers directly, you don't need to click and go to somewhere else and read the overall answer. Does two things. One, as a user, saves you about 10-15 searches. Earlier, when you were you're planning to travel and you were researching, you would have done so many searches, right? Now what do? Just say that, oh, I'm going to Manali for 3 nights, help me create a plan, right? And it'll do it, and it'll do it pretty nicely, right? Saves you the effort of going through all these searches, spending hours, putting down points. Now in probably a few minutes, you have at least a draft ready, workable draft, right? We took a lot of time to get there, right? That's a definite benefit for the user. On the other side, people who are creating content, original content if I may, journalists, deep dives, interviews, that kind of now gets a 1,000-word interview or a editorial content will get summarized into 2 lines, stripped away from the branding and the journalist's name, and just it'll be put up on, let's call it a large language model answer, because pretty much all these engines will treat it the same way, right? So this is a risk.
What can publishers do about it if this happens? This is already happening. It's not going to happen. It is already happening. It's here. Yes. So what are the other options that publishers can adopt to build their revenue sources? Any suggestions on that?
Well, the point of it's already happening, I would say it's not a phenomenon of today, right? Zero-click results is the word, and it's been there for some time, right? If you read about featured snippets from Google, Google was any which ways picking up the relevant bit to the query, putting up right on top of search and showing you this is the relevant part of the article which you need answer for in the query that you have typed, right? It's just that in the present day and age with AI overviews, that number increases, right? And I was reading a stat which is interesting. 60% of all searches do not end up in a click. Right, which is huge, right? 60% of all searches, right? And all we can see is probably it's going to increase, right? The way I'm thinking is the worst thing after not getting clicked is probably not getting seen as well, right? So the one thing that publishers would want to do is at least stay on top. The branding should be there, should be clear, right? And internally start looking at more intent-based content rather than a keyword-based content, because it's not the keyword anymore, right? Remember, probably everyone would have received a list of keywords that we'll need to focus on today. It's not there anymore. It will pick up content from anywhere in the article, and you have to keep a user's interest intact. You have to answer real user questions. You have to call out problems that a user faces for whatever your subject is. If you're looking at personal finance, talk about the way a user can save money, make money, right?
That's money, your life. I mean, I think every publisher is working on that only, but still, if you're not seen, if you're not visible anymore, then what are the other options that probably the ad goes down, the brand value goes down. So I think in my personal opinion, I think Community Connect can be a great way, reaching out to, even if we are digital publishers, we should do some groundwork, we should do some original stories, we should try to bring up exclusive content, investigative piece of content. I think that is my way of seeing it as an editor. But how would you see this? What suggestion would you give to the publishers there?
I would rather say that, look, it's right now there's a strong change, right? It's not going to be the same anymore, what we have used to. So let's accept that there's going to be a change, right? Across this change, there are certain variables that will change, something that will stay intact. A user's interest will stay intact. If you're able to serve that, the user will come to you. Try to build the direct connect through differentiated content. If you are able to answer life's problems, a user will stick to you. Second, well, text is not the only format to stick to. It's a vertical scrolling, the thumb scroll or the doom scrolling generation.
Right, doom scrolling. Right? So there my second question comes at about the content creator and influencers. What are they doing right that we are not doing?
Well, they're not making you read. They're answering big questions of life in, let's say, 30 seconds or less, right? And slightly deeper questions through podcasts and through open-ended conversation, right? That brings up unique aspects, that brings up the human side of the content, right? That brings up that connect. So it's no longer connect that I have to actually read through, process, understand, and then imbibe, right? I could be doing something else like driving or let's say something else and listening to the content, because and I'm still able to connect to the topic.
With that person who is telling me something.
Absolutely. So coming back to your question on the future of search, I believe it's not going to be text anymore. But then what is the right way? I'd say there is no right way. It's still evolving, right? But ultimately, things gets multimodal in a way. there are certain things that you will be able to describe best in text. Certain things are described best as a video. Certain things are described best as a combination of both. Certain things in mother tongue, in different languages, right? Why should we just stick to one mode of, let's say, content, right? And we need to evolve right now, right? Now the point is, such context and such content is loved by these LLM crawling engines as well, right? And I believe that's the other way where the monetization will happen, right? We have heard about revenue per crawl, right? There's a company which says the more number of times you get crawled for content, and that's how you people who are crawling will pay you. Such models are yet to evolve. It's not there yet, but at the present, let's start thinking about that. Let's start thinking engagement more than just reach, right? Let's start increasing engagement time per user, get the user to latch on to your content, establish the direct connect, right? Because we should have done that over the last 5-7 years or so, right? We were too dependent on one mode for traffic, first social, then Google, right? And then we were too dependent on that, right? So big answer or the small answer to the big question would be just let's try and establish that direct connect to a user's intent, right? There's no reason why the user wouldn't stick to you.
But how do we identify that? What is the user's intent? What does any user want to read, see or hear? How do we identify that? Other than surveys and things that legacy media rooms,
that's a great question. Look, there are two perspectives when it comes to LLMs, and one is the news part of things, right? LLMs cannot replicate.
And just to add, will Google Discover be able to help us there? Can it?
Yeah. So look, so coming back to the point, there are two parts to news content in a way, and it's not entirely news, right? One part of it is news. Something happened. Somebody said something, right? These are happening in real time. Call it breaking news if you may, but that is one part of things, and that's pretty much very prevalent. Everyone gets to talk about the same thing because it's a broadcast any which ways, right? And on the other side, there are deeper aspects. Why did that happen? Why did he say so? What is the science behind that? Oh, if I do that, does it really benefit? Right? These are the inherent questions that comes back to my basic needs of my intent, right? Content should actually start answering those questions, right? And it doesn't depend on what format and everything. Now you spoke about connect. That's one way of establishing connect, because through community connects, through events, I am establishing that direct one-on-one connect, right? So that's where this is evolving towards. What happens to the influencers? Look, I believe, coming back to this kind of content, look, everyone gets to have a say. That's not the point. The point is, whom do you trust, right? So, and nobody can dictate whom you trust, but the more nuanced an answer is, the more well researched something is, and that's the differentiator with content from journalists, because that's very deep. You can trust this. Will Google Discover help? Of course, right? But that's yet another mode of Google. Google themselves say that it's a your money, your life genre of content, right? You get to know about a keyword later. You will get to your intent will tell you things first, right? And that's the point where Google Discover comes in. That look, if you're looking for investments, this is some content which I can tell you will talk about investments, right? So CTR on Google Discover is 3 times as high as that of search, right?
Okay.
That's because the connect is there, right? That's because Google Discover is giving them, filtering out all the content or the noise and giving you what you need, right? And that's where the connect is a little deeper, and that's where the user's needs are getting met, right?
Right. So I was having this discussion with a newsroom friend, and he had this question. So I would like to put it up to you, that Google Discovery in recent times, has the traffic gone down for specific users? Do you think there's a change in algorithm, or there's a change in some policy?
Yeah, well, look, coming to the recent events, but before, let's get an understanding that every year or 2 or 3 times a year, Google will do a core engine update, what it calls a core update. Okay, There was one in March, there's one happening right now, and there are 2 or 3 times in a year that this happens, right? Google Discover and Google Search are governed by the same set of rules any which ways, right? So whenever a Google core in algorithm changes, Discover will get impacted, Search will get impacted. Google themselves say that Google Discover's traffic is rather keeps on evolving as per a user's need, right? So the algorithm will decide to push certain things down, bring certain things up. It's Google's proprietary algorithm any which ways, so nobody gets a say on what it should be.
So is it as it is amending its mechanism, is it possible that maybe it is detecting some sort of AI generated content in the content that has been created by news publishers, and therefore it is taking down those pages? Is it possible?
Probably.
Because I think there are many, like YouTube also came out with this AI generated content policy recently. Yes. So maybe something like that is going behind doors.
Fairly possible, right? But you never know what's happening behind these updates, right? See, at the end of the day, what does Google say? And it has not changed its stance, I believe, over the last more than a decade now. It's saying create what users want, right? And it has a concept of EEAT, expertise, authority, trustworthiness, experience, right? And all of these things and elements has to be built into your content, right? Now, if a person is creating content and is taking the help of LLMs, which is inevitable in the present day and age, do you call that AI content? Or if a LLM is churning out 100 pieces of content based on keywords or whatever it is, do you call that AI content? The definition of AI content gets blurry around the edges. Okay, so it's very hard for a system to decide. Probably the system can decide, but if a user is getting engaged and if a user likes the content, well, who's really caring if it's created by AI or created by a person or a person using AI, right? So at the end of the day, what matters is what users want, what the user is getting engaged on, what they like.
Totally. So my last question to you, Abhishek, would be, looking ahead, what do you foresee? How do you see the future?
Well, look, the present day and age in context, try moving out of the search perspectives. So move out of the keyword, tap into a user's intent. It's not that something you can build overnight. It's a muscle that has to be exercised for some time before you get there, right? So quantity is not the answer anymore. It has to be quality, relevance. It has to adhere to all those guidelines. It has to adhere to the most basic of all the content creation rules, right? That's the most immediate thing you do. And alongside, not just creating content, establish that connect with the user, right? Email sign up, direct login, things like that.
I think this is the best time to do that, because जो AI content और human AI versus human का debate चल रहा है, उस time पे अगर हम actually reach out कर पाएं to our communities as news publishers, legacy or small newsrooms, we have a community already. If we can build on that, so maybe I think this is the best time to get into that community connect and build relationship situations and build our content, I think.
Absolutely. Start thinking multimodal as well. Don't be limited to text only, right? And that's something that will require a change, not just in the way we think, but in the way we work, in the way we actually create content, right? So the immediate term needs to address that part. Over long term, look, it's muddy right now because there's a big disruption that is happening. The disruption will settle. One thing is very clear: the blue link economy is not coming back, right? So how do you actually adapt and evolve, right? While you take care of the new monetization models that come across, I think you'll have to wait and watch while you establish this connect, right? Because nobody knows right now on what the monetization model of the future is going to be. Some of that we have seen evolving. The LLMs are paying news publishers for their content. We have seen that happen in Europe. We have seen a lot of examples like that. It's yet to happen here. It's yet to actually take complete shape. right? But even if it does, right, it's still paying for the content. I
The
think now
original content.
the original content, right? I believe if you have the direct connect with the user, right, probably a part of that could go to a LLM, the rest of it could stay back with the site itself, right? While the entire model is yet to come up, it's just too muddy right now, but I believe relevance, creating what the users want, establishing that direct connect is what you can do today, and that's the decision that has to be taken today. Right? Otherwise, well, you arrive there a day late and a dollar short. There's no point in doing that.
Totally. So doing it today, this is the time for it. So with this, I would like to thank my guest Abhishek Prasad, who opened up and gave us so many insightful conversations related to Google search, AI search, and the future that we are possibly thinking about. So this was all from me in the AI Literacy Bridging the Gap series. This was Devika. Stay tuned till next week. Till then, be careful and stay safe.